Hey all, Wednesday, June 24th. And last time we talked, or at least I was able to chat with you. Unfortunately, I don't get to hear you respond. I was outside of this background, able to share from the grounds of my place there in Missouri. It's a great trip. I was able to take my daughter, my assistant Chloe's with us, got some filming done to update the website. We got more employees. We got 22 staff members. So we need to update those who you're working with. So you get a little bit of familiarity with the people you're going to be interacting with in your transactions. Also had a chance to go get the boat out, go do some bow fishing. It was awesome. It was a really, really, really good time. And I came back on Sunday, flew in, and life did some changes for us that day. Those of you who I may or may not have shared before, my wife is an ER nurse. My daughter works in the ER with her as a tech. So they're in one of those hospitals that's very, very, very close to many of your skilled nursing facilities, that kind of thing. So when you hear the news out there saying that the coronavirus is increasing in certain areas, Florida and Arizona, for example. Arizona is kind of a hot spot from what I'm hearing. I've got firsthand knowledge of that. Now, it's kind of hard for me to be able to understand it because I'm not living in the environment. In fact, my wife and I have had a lot of heavy discussions about, do you wear a mask, do you not wear a mask? I wouldn't say we fought about it or anything to that effect, just kind of disagreed a little bit because she's right there seeing it. So she's commenting on put the mask on. I'm like, I hate wearing the mask. Well, then this whole coronavirus thing punched me in the face really hard on Sunday. When I came back, my wife was on shift. She'd been on shift for 4 days straight, 12-hour shifts, going in at like 6 a.m., getting home at 6, 7 o'clock at night. And she came home Sunday, Father's Day. We're having dinner, and I got a text from my mom's husband, Dave, indicating that she could use some help. She had been diagnosed with bilateral pneumonia, just got out of the hospital, was having a hard time. So we went in there to check on her. We gowned up, masked up, the whole works, came in there. So I've worked in the rescue world as an EMT. So I definitely understand the need for good protection. Went in there and put on some of the equipment we had to find out that she was not satting really well. Her oxygen set levels were really, really low. So we decided we should get her in. We took her into hospital, and she did get diagnosed with the virus, and they now have had to put her on a ventilator. Kind of punches you in the face real hard when somebody that close to you is now put in that position in the ICU. She's going to be unconscious for possibly 2 weeks on a ventilator, breathing for her. So it brings it home that the position that I'd taken on these things and looked at it from the perspective that I did may not have been accurate. And my mom listened to all those things. She paid really close attention to what was being said out there for protecting yourself, wearing the mask and staying away from others, and stayed at home for as much as she could. And when she came out, she put on the mask, had the glasses, everything, still got her. And so there she is. We can't be with her. So I really am grateful for those who are with her, who are taking care of her, those who are dedicating that 12 to 14 hours of their day to make sure that she's doing all right. So I want to offer my thanks to them and everybody who's offered their prayers to the family. I appreciate that. But for the most part, I want to just kind of throw that out there. There's people that are still under attack out there, and our first responders need our respect. The police, they need our respect. They've got really, really hard jobs, guys, extremely hard jobs. I would never want to do what my wife has to do. Never. I've done it on the rescue side where it's I get in, get them, and get them out, right? Sometimes it's overnight because we're in the hills, but that wasn't bad. But what they got to deal with in the hospital setting is a tough thing. So, one of the things that we're seeing out there with all the stuff that's happening geopolitically and what's happening in our cities, that is it's very concerning how people are looking at things. They're painting everybody with the same bucket of negative thought process when it comes to the police or whatever, because of the extremely bad choices of a few. And I just can't get behind looking at everything that way. Are there some that definitely need to have a deeper look into how they operate? Yes. I think there is definitely a few out there that need to have the consequences laid upon them for their choices, but the many don't need that. We need to treat each other with a lot of respect. In fact, all the problems we have as a society is created by people, created by humans. If we want to solve the problems, it can be solved by humans. It's up to us to solve it. We have to solve it internally ourselves. We got to start here, start with our mind, and then work it out there to permeate how we interact with other people. So to generalize in any way, I think is completely incorrect. So to get away from that, you get back to the market, why we get everything. So I don't want to keep dragging it into those kind of things, but think about how you interact with those around you. Think about those people who are serving your community. And if you're a servant of the community, think hard about what you do every day. I know your job is hard. I know it's difficult to be dealing with people in their worst case scenario and then try and interact with somebody else on just a normal basis. It's got to be tough, but that's the path you chose. You have to go about life with extreme courtesy, something that I don't know that I could do. So I'm telling you, you're a better person than I am doing those type of jobs, and I appreciate you doing it. But keep doing it to the best of your ability every single day. Start all over every single day as a new day, not carrying the weight of yesterday with you. I know that's tough, and I appreciate all of you, first responders, law enforcement, military. They're doing what you do. We respect what you're doing for our society and for our communities. So looking at the market today, let's just see what we got going on here for the 3.5 market. We held strong in the channel for a long period here, and then we actually broke down out of that channel into a lower channel, meaning we saw a little bit of a creep up in the cost. So the interest rates we're getting are still about the same, but it went from, like, let's say 4.125 costing a point. Let's just say, it changes from person to person. So I can't say specifically whoever's listing right now is going to get that. It would be like 1.25. So we're looking at a little bit of movement there. So just something to understand, that this may not change the rate directly, but it'll change the cost a little bit. We go back up in here, we may see it go back up and get back up in that upper channel. And if it does, then we'll see it improve a little bit. So this is a lot like being in a parking lot with a few speed bumps, right? You're still kind of flat. You're still moving across the parking lot, but you got a few bumps here and there. We get a little bit of improvement and a little bit of digression. So nothing extreme. We're still staying pretty steady with what the Fed is injecting into the market. Interesting news also that came out. They're back into discussing another 50 or 100-year bond offering. I don't understand why anybody would want to do that. I'm guessing if the rates improve, if that kind of thing improves, you might get a better yield. And so because they're saying 100-year bond potential offering, less than 1% yield, like a 0.88% yield. The only way that would be better is if the rates got better, right? And then your yield improved. And so you've doubled, or at least increased your money that way. But I just can't see a reason to do a 100-year bond as an investor. But as an investor, to be able to borrow that money, as investors in the real estate, we're basically borrowing from a bond, where we're getting a 30-year fixed mortgage. If I can get a 100-year, I do that all damn day long. I don't care what the rate is. 100 years for a declining industry, repaying with the dollar in the declining environment like that, why would I not want to? So let's see how that plays out if they start extending the 30-year, because I know there was conversation about the 30-year might go away. I'm having a hard time thinking the 30-year would go away, as people were worrying about when they're kicking around a 50 to 100-year bond offering. So I don't think our 30-year fix is going to disappear at all. It just with the fact that people are considering that. I've had a comment come across from a guy, Scott, who had shot me an email and say, hey, we'd love to get more information on certain aspects of lending we can do a deep dive into. So I'm communicating with him, and I appreciate him giving me the thoughts to consider in some of these videos, to start getting deeper into like estimates, like loan estimates, understanding costs. So I'm going to talk a little bit about costs real quick here. I know our time is going fast. But you're going to see people offering interest rates and certain costs, and especially the lender fees. And people call those junk fees, right? Well, we have 3 lender fees: $299 processing, $996 underwriting, and $375 origination. Now, origination fee is not a true origination fee, because we're not going to charge credit report. We're not going to charge tax service. We're not going to charge flood search. We're not going to charge you for a doc prep or wire fee. Those are very common fees from many lenders. Those aren't going to be charged. It's all lumped in that particular fee, so that we're not going to see that pop up in there. So the reason I bring that up is, just understand that it does cost something to originate these loans. You've got to pay a lot of overhead. What used to be able to get a loan done, I could get it done with 2 to 3 people touching the deal. Now I've got to have 6, 7, 8, 10 people touching it. It's not because it's the assembly line needs that many people. It's because there's so much we have to do to be compliant with the regulations. I have to have more people to actually complete that. For us to be able to get a loan done in 30 days is extensive. There's so much work that has to go into it. I know when I deal with realtors, they don't understand. They ask the question, why does it take you so long? Well, if you knew every single step that we had to take, then you'd be alarmed at how much work we have to do on every single transaction. The Dodd-Frank Act, the regulations put out through other federal agencies that oversee the lending industry. They have so many steps we have to take. I've got to put a ton of people in there to make sure it's done. And just when we fund it, it's still not done. I have post-closing audits. We still have things come back to us after the fact. So just know that there's a lot of hours into every single deal. The pre-qual alone, I could see spending nearly $200 just in hours to pay professionals to look at your data and ensure that we have an accurate loan to get done. So when we're charging these fees, $299 and $996, that goes to the branch to cover the overhead costs. Just know we're just scraping by to get these deals done and make a profit. I'm trying to be profitable, but not lose money. Because we're losing money, then I can't be here to serve you. So I want to be sure that there's just enough to make sure things get done without overhitting you. That's our goal. So we keep adjusting our margins to keep the rates as low as I can make it work, but also have that upfront expense to be able to keep the lights on and keep people employed. So I appreciate everybody willing to use our services, trust us with your business, and help you build your business to be more successful with your real estate investment business. And I'll continue to start adding some of this. And we'll probably start bringing in some more screenshots of fees and really start explaining what's there and why. So that way you feel a little bit more confident going into it. And that way, somebody sends you some stuff that just looks really bogus, you'll at least be armed a little bit more to understand it. Because I understand you may not always be working with us. You're going to have to work with other companies. And when that time comes, I want you to be armed with how to discuss that with them. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing and for deciding to make some changes in your world and picking up the books. I've been seeing a lot of people's comments on the books, and I sincerely appreciate that. Go to Amazon, go to the QJO initiative, Quit Jerking Off initiative, order the 4 books, and I'd love to see more pictures coming in that we can post up. Thank you, guys.